Hey, Stephanie.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited for tonight.
I am as well. Everybody could not believe that you were actually going to get on the call and coach
Okay,
us.
well,
So
I'm here. I am here. Awesome.
you're ready. So, and
So
I just
made
joined
you
the coaching program too. So
okay, cool. I just made you a co-host.
Okay.
And so I will we'll just have you welcome everybody in, and then just do a, whenever you're ready to get started sometime in the next minute or so, just give me a quick little intro, and then I'll take it from there. And I just need you to keep an eye on the waiting room. That's all.
Okay, perfect. And then you said you were recording it, correct?
Yes, it'll be recorded. So we'll send the recording to you.
Perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So why don't we go ahead and we'll start letting everybody in.
Okay.
You want the other headphones?
Sorry.
We will do a quick welcome in just a minute. We're just going to get everybody in here. So hold tight. Okay, well, it is slowed down a little bit on everybody coming in. So I want to do a quick welcome and intro to Bob. And first off, I want to say thank you to everybody for taking your time out of your evening to join us on this call tonight. I found Bob several months ago and immediately fell in love with his coaching, his approach, and realized that he is very much aligned with who we are here at Herbal Alchemy, and wanted to share all the goodness with you, with everybody, with our entire team. So I'm gonna let him take it over, and we are recording it, and he is going to share that recording with me, and then I will pass it on to everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate the introduction. And hey, everyone. I'm excited to be here tonight with all of you, and looking forward to getting a chance to chat with you. So if this is our first time meeting, I'll take.
You can't hear you.
Oh, it would help if I unmute myself. Are we good now? There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Stephanie, thanks for the introduction. And I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with all of you tonight. I was taking a little bit of time today getting prepared for our training tonight, just kind of learning more about Herbal Alchemy and your company. And And I totally agree with what Stephanie said. I think that for those of you that may not be familiar with myself and our company and what we do, I think you're going to find a lot of similarities in the message that I have to share with you tonight. And, you know, the one thing that really stood out for me as I was kind of looking over your website was your founder Jamie's story. And I know that a big part of what you do is really founded in mission and purpose. And not to say that we don't all, it's not to say there's nothing wrong with aspiring for financial success. And but I'm going to just assume that you're here because you're driven by something that you feel is much more meaningful than just your own personal bank account, that you truly feel called to do this work and that there is a bigger reason why you're here. And, you know, I've always felt that way about myself when it came to being an entrepreneur. And, you know, I spent about 10 years in the profession as a consultant with several different companies. I struggled big time in the beginning. So if you're here tonight feeling a little frustrated because you're working hard and things are not really clicking the way that you would have hoped they would, I've been there and I know what it feels like. And, you know, I did eventually kind of figure some things out, and I'm going to share with you tonight. I think the biggest thing that I figured out that got me off the struggle bus and helped me get on the road to success. But then my career kind of took a crazy turn, and I'll spare you all the details. But about 6 years ago, I started a training company that today we call Your Virtual Upline. And we teach what I think is a really different philosophy. It won't sound that much different to all of you, just knowing your company and kind of your culture. But we teach a philosophy that we call Love, Serve, Grow. And Love, Serve, Grow is really, we believe that it is the blueprint for you building the kind of business that I'm just going to assume most of you really desire. And these three words, they're more than just words that kind of sound nice to say. I believe they really are the values that if you can build your business in alignment with these things, that some pretty amazing things can happen. And so I'm going to be teaching you tonight one of, if not the most important message or training that is under this kind of umbrella of love, service, and growth. And if you're someone that's here tonight and you are struggling specifically in the area of growing your team, I believe that tonight might be the single most important training that you've ever had in your career. And I say that because I know that when I figured this out, it made all the world a difference for me. And we've really built a business upon helping our clients kind of start to change their approach to that piece of their business. And it doesn't mean that what I'm going to teach you tonight still can't be applied to other areas of your business, such as selling your products, but we're going to kind of focus on the conversation around the business, because I know generally that's the biggest struggle. So what I really want to talk to you tonight about is it's an interesting conversation, and it's a very interesting topic because, you know, I just talked to you about Love, Serve, Grow and how this is what we really this is our mission and this is our purpose. But I'm going to make the argument tonight that sales is the single most important skill that every single one of you needs to focus on this year in your business if you really want to make this year your breakthrough year. There's a lot of interesting things happening out there in the world today, right? There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people that are kind of afraid of what might be to come economically and so on and so forth. So it could be really easy, I think, as an entrepreneur to kind of feel a little nervous about this year and what it might mean for your business. But here's where I'd like to maybe have a lot of you feel very hopeful and inspired going into 2023. Because what I know about our profession is this: we do extremely well during down economic times. So when the rest of the world is going this way, if you look at past periods of economic uncertainty and downturn, it's usually really good for our profession as a whole. And when we think about the building your team side of things, the recruiting side of your business, which I know is probably the area where you're struggling, I believe that 2023 is going to present each and every one of you with the greatest opportunity that you have ever had in your business to grow your team. And the reason why I say that is because I pay attention to what's going on, and I spend a lot of time reading the news and things that are happening, and you probably do as well. It's no secret that people are getting laid off. They're losing jobs. I think we're really only at the very beginning of us seeing this. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that there are going to be a lot of people that you know right now today that have been in established jobs and careers, that have been successful, people that, the kind of people that you would really dream to recruit to your team, right? Not the ones that sign up just because they want to get a discount on the products. And then you have to, literally hold their hand every single step of the way, motivating them. You're playing equal parts sponsor, guidance counselor, and psychiatrist. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been there before. And sometimes that can get frustrating, right? When we sponsor people to our team, we have these high hopes, and then nothing really happens. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. It's just that they really didn't have the commitment level or the drive to want to go out and do something like this. And so what I want to share with you is the kind of people that are willing to do something with something like this, you will have access to this year in a way you never have before. People will be open and looking, whether they've been displaced or whether they're worried about what's happening, or, the thing that we're seeing a lot of in our business, we're seeing a lot of stay-at-home mothers that had careers that are looking to get back into the workforce. There was a really interesting article in the Wall Street Journal just a few weeks ago, and it talked about something that they called the work from home gap. And what the data is showing is that there are more people today that are looking for work from home opportunities, jobs. The number one thing people are looking for is flexible work today. But there are the least amount of opportunities to do that we've ever seen since even before COVID. So there's this gap and there's this disparity. But what is all of this telling us? Well, we need to pay attention because it's starting to cue us in to what people are really looking for. You want to know what people are looking for today? They're looking for flexible work. They're looking for opportunity. They're looking for purpose and meaning in the work that they do. If for nothing else, what the last couple of years have done for us is it's forced us to really slow down and look at what we're doing in our life and really pay close attention to what matters. And so all of this, I believe, is creating the perfect storm of opportunity for you in your business. Now, it's interesting, though, this conversation, because a lot of the people that I talk to today, their businesses are struggling big time. A lot of the leaders, a lot of my clients that are more successful leaders, I hear the same thing over and over from them again. They say, Bob, I don't know how to motivate my team. They're either not even having the recruiting conversations anymore, or they're having them, but we just can't get people interested. And I don't know what to do. And so tonight, I'm going to give you what I think is the solution, and I'm going to give you the game plan for how you're going to be able to take advantage of what's going to be happening this year moving forward. So what I want to propose to you is this: you need to change your approach to selling. The number one reason why, if you're struggling right now, and let's just talk specifically in the area of recruiting and growing your team, there's only one reason why that is. You're not doing a good enough job communicating the value of someone being a consultant in your company. See, a lot of people believe that the cost of joining the business is what really determines whether somebody says yes or no. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. It also has nothing to do with whether somebody buys your products, because a price or cost is never the determining factor. Value always is. Okay. And listen, this should not be a new concept to you, because there's these phrases tossed around all the time in our business. We hear just create value. You just got to create value, right? Create valuable content, share your story, create value. We hear this tossed around all the time, but the problem is people are not giving us an actual step-by-step plan or direction for how you create value. See, we only understand value creation at one level, which I will argue is not good enough in the world we live in today. See, there are actually 3 different levels of value creation that I'm going to teach you tonight. And I'm going to, and what I think a lot of you are going to realize is that you've only been scratching the surface and you've only been addressing the first level. And I'm going to explain to you why that's a problem. So we talk about in our business that there's these 2 different ways to sell, and it's important to understand the distinction because it's going to feed into these 3 different ways to create value. The way that almost everybody sells in this profession is what we call transactional selling. Now, let me be clear on one thing. There's nothing inherently wrong with transactional selling, right? There's nothing wrong with it. Almost every single company in our profession is very transactional by nature in terms of the way they run their business. Now, what's the number one thing that determines transactional? I'm going to start using the word conversations instead of selling, because that's all selling is. It's just having a conversation. The number one thing that determines a transactional sales conversation is it's product focused. Now, this is the first level of value creation. Product information. Now, what I would invite you to do is this. Take a look at the conversations that you've been having with people about your business, even your products as well, because this applies to both sides of the equation. And what I want you to notice is how much time you spend talking and telling people how great what you do is and how great it can be for them. See, when we're product focused, what we believe, we think that the way that we create value and that the way we get someone interested to join is we just tell them everything about our stuff, why it's the best, right? We just spout off all the facts and the figures. If it's the business side, it's, the compensation plan and the bonuses and the company and the founder and the mission and the purpose, and the product side, it's the ingredients and it's this and that. And we go on and on and on and on and on. Now, are we not supposed to share that stuff? No, but there's a time and a place. See, when I look at most of our clients, when they come to us for help, here's the number one problem they have. That's all they're doing. All they're doing is having transactional, product-focused conversations. Now, here's the big problem with this. This is what everybody does. This is what everybody does. And look, I get it. You truly believe your thing is the best thing, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You believe Jamie's the best founder. You believe your products are the best products. You believe your comp plan is the best comp plan. But guess what? It doesn't make a difference to your prospect because everybody says they have the best products. Everybody says they have the best company. Everybody says they have the best compensation plan. I haven't seen one person yet in a sales conversation say, hey, you want to know what? We've got the 5th best compensation plan in our industry. Right? You should join us, right? At least we're in the top 5. You want to know what would happen if you said that to me? I'd say, okay, well, who are the top 4? Nobody says that. Everybody says they're the best. Now, here's the problem with this. This is so important for you to understand. In the world that we live in today, with the access that we have to information and the way that we are connected, product information has little to no value to your prospect, at least at this point in the process. Remember, we're just having an initial conversation with people. And the mistake that I see people making is that's all they bring to the table. And then here's what happens. A lot of our clients will tell us, they'll say, Bob, I get ghosted all the time, or I send a message and people don't respond to me. I'm going to tell you why this happens to you. Because the second you say the same thing that every other social seller and every other person in this profession says, which, by the way, everybody says it, the second you say what everyone else says, you immediately trigger that other person's sales resistance. And they start looking negatively at you. It doesn't mean, it's not an indictment on you as a person, but you just created a negative interaction with them. And guess what that means? They're probably not going to do business with you, or they might buy from you because maybe just the conversation itself around the products is compelling enough to get them to buy, but the decision to buy the products is a much easier decision than them to buy joining the business. But what they'll do is they'll become a customer of yours, but they'll never actually pursue being a consultant in a serious way because they don't see themselves having the same kinds of conversations that you had. Is this making sense to you? This is the reason why typically when people think of sales, right, what do I see in this profession all the time? And look, I was as guilty of this as anybody else. We have this like aversion to the concept of sales because sales as we know it is only the way that we're talking about it. It's only transactional and it's only product focused conversations. And so when you hear somebody say, well, I'm just not a salesperson. How many times have you had somebody say that to you? I'm just not a salesperson. Well, that is the surest sign you'll ever see that you just had a product focused conversation with them. Because when you're product focused, it feels like sales. And I bet most of you don't think of yourself as a salesperson, right? You don't, but you just fell in love with the company and the products enough that you got over that and then you started to share it anyway. Well, what if I told you this? What if sales didn't have to be something that felt icky or that was a bad word to use? What if sales and service were not opposites? Because this is the other thing that drives me crazy. When I see people sharing things like, oh, you serve, you don't sell, right? It's like, it's a real cute thing to post on Instagram. Serve, you sell, you got to serve. That's how you become successful. And we see this stuff over and over again. We hear, you just share, right? We're conditioned to be averse to the concept of sales. And here's the truth of the matter. This is one of the biggest reasons why people struggle, because they don't put enough time and attention on developing the skill of selling, and they only sell that one way that we've been taught, and we get stuck at that surface level of value creation. So here's what I want to help you do. I want to help you stand out. I want to help you be different. Because these same kinds of conversations, the reason why I see people today struggling at a level that I haven't seen in several years is because I know what's happening without even having to ask them. The same transactional conversations that they've been having over the last couple of years that have been working for them, they're becoming less and less effective. The world is changing, and you must learn how to adapt and evolve your approach to your business so that you can keep up with this change. And here's the way we do it. So inside of Love, Serve, Grow, what Love, Serve, Grow really is it's a blueprint to help you build what we like to call a transformational business. And so what we teach is a very different approach to the concept of having sales conversations that we call transformational selling. And so here's the easiest distinction that I could make is transactional conversations are product focused. Transformational conversations are problem focused. Transactional conversations are about you, what you have to offer. Transformational conversations are about the other person and how your products or your business can help them. Now, I bring up this concept of helping people and solving problems. And what I see a lot of is this. I see a lot of people that they sell these prepackaged solutions to problems, which is not anything what I'm teaching you tonight, right? And so what that might look like is somebody tells you that they're struggling with their skin or their energy, and you say, oh, I've got the perfect product for you. It'll help you. And then we immediately prescribe the solution. Or somebody says, I don't like my job. I'm frustrated at work. And you say, oh, you got to do my business. Here's why it's great. We prescribe the solution. Right? This is what I see all the time. That's not transformational selling. Here's a really good analogy I want you to think about. And look, if you've done this stuff in the past, and if you're doing this stuff now, don't beat yourself up, because this is what everybody does. And it's not wrong. This is not a right or wrong conversation. This is, you need to evolve and you need to continue to develop your skills. But here's a good analogy that I think will get you to understand what that's like. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Imagine you went to your doctor and you said, "Hey doc, you know, I've been in a bad mood today." And he said, "Oh, you need an antidepressant. Yeah, here you go. Here's your prescription." That is the equivalent of the way that most people sell in our profession. You have to learn how to start connecting with people in your conversations and taking the time to really understand them and the circumstances of their life and what they're going through as a way to determine if that person is even a fit for what you have. You know, I like to say, ditch the pitch. You have to ditch the pitch in your business. The reason why people don't like what we do is because all that happens is they get pitched all day long by people that are having transactional product focused conversations. Now, some of you might be thinking, man, this sounds like a lot of work, Bob. You're telling me that I have to connect with every person and I have to ask them questions and take the time to get to know them? Well, you don't have to do it. It's just dependent upon whether you want to actually build the kind of business that you desire. You can continue to use all the same scripts and closing strategies and all the other stuff that everybody else is trying to give you. But here's the thing. How's that working out for you so far? See, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. What I'm going to teach you is hard work. But I don't think you're afraid of the hard work. If the hard work that you're doing feels good and fulfills you and actually helps you transform other people's lives. See, all of a sudden, the hard work's not the problem anymore. So what the first thing that we teach people to do is this. We teach people how to slow down to sell faster. Slow down in your conversations, right? Understand that every single sales conversation is a unique thing. People are not numbers. They're not numbers. You have to change your approach to conversation. So what does it look like to be problem focused? Well, here's where we talk about the second level of value creation. The first level is product information. That means nothing today. It's completely commoditized. 20 years ago, it meant something, because a salesperson giving product information actually had value because nobody could get it anywhere else. There's no value to you giving something to your prospect that they can get themselves in a 30-second Google search. We have to move to the second level of value creation, which is problems. Now, here's the big thing I want you to understand about problems. A problem is not a problem unless you understand the uniqueness of the problem. So let me give you an example of what this actually would look like. So I'm going to give you a real life scenario that I actually a coaching that I actually went through in my life. We have these defining moments in our career, right? It happens in our life as well, where we can look back and we just remember that one event because what it represented for us. And so I want to share a quick story with you. This was my light bulb moment that led me down the path that I'm on today and what I'm teaching you right now. So I was brought up in a company that was stereotypical, everything that I've been teaching you, but 10 times worse. It was the whole fake it till you make it mentality, right? Like just, sell the dream, the bling, just like, you know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that we really hate about this profession. Now, y'all are lucky because you're not in that kind of a company, but I was brought up in that kind of a company. But the one thing that I was taught that I never forgot is one of my early mentors told me, he said, Bob, to be successful, you have to be a great presenter. You got to be a great presenter. And so I ran with that. And so I mastered the art of giving a presentation. But here's what giving a presentation meant to me. Sitting down with somebody over a cup of coffee for 1 hour and spouting every single fact and figure that I knew about our products, company, compensation plan. And it was a choreographed song and dance that I went through over and over and over and over again. And here's what's interesting. I didn't recruit a single person my first year in this profession. And it was not for a lack of effort. And so I had this experience. I was in medical sales and I was sitting in a doctor's office, as I often did. And there was another sales rep next to me, and we started chit-chatting. We just hit it off right away. You know, like sometimes when you just meet people, you just get a sense like, wow, this is like my kind of people. And we only chatted a couple of minutes, but one of the things that we talked about was the company that I was working for. I had just gone through and survived 2 rounds of massive corporate layoffs in this particular company. And I was like feeling really uncertain about my future. And that's actually what led me to starting my first network marketing business. So I was talking to this guy and he told me, he said, we just went through the same thing. So in that moment, I'm like, this guy's like me. Like, there's no doubt about it. We exchanged business cards. I called him up. I said, hey, I'd love to get together and have coffee with you. And, you know, I was like, I got something I want to share with you. May or may not be for you, but I just really enjoyed our conversation, right? So he kind of knew going into it that it was something. Now, mind you, I'd been in the business for a year, hadn't recruited a single person. So I pride myself, I'm a smart guy. And so I got to the point where I'm like, okay, so maybe working harder is not the answer, right? Because every time I went to my upline and I'm like, I'm struggling, he said, talk to more people. You got to talk to, I'm like, but Pat, I'm already talk to more people. And I'm like, maybe that's not the answer. Maybe I need to change my approach. So I went into this meeting, met him at a Starbucks in Northeast Philadelphia, which where I live. And I went into the meeting saying, I'm going to do this one different. And I think it wasn't an intentional thing, but I think one of the reasons why I wanted to do it different was because I genuinely saw myself in this other person and I wanted to find out if he really was like me and just share my experience. Like, I just knew everything I needed to say to him in order to connect with him. So I went into the presentation. I didn't even bring my iPad to do my spiel. I left it in because I knew if I had it on me, I just wouldn't be able to resist ripping it out at some point. So I'm like, I'm leaving that sucker in the car. So I can't do it. And I went in, I sat down with him. We sat across the table and I just talked to him. I asked him purposeful questions. I went into this meeting already knowing the questions I was going to ask. And it wasn't because I was like, I'm trying to manipulate him to do it. I just was curious. And we sat for an hour. We talked. I shared my experiences. He shared his. It was this really awesome thing. I'd never felt like that in a business meeting before. We got towards the end of the hour. And here's what happened. This was one of the defining moments of my business career. He stopped me mid-sentence and he said, okay, I'm in. And I said, what? He goes, I'm in, sign me up. I was completely startled and I start chuckling. And I said, don't you want to know what it is? I'll never forget what he said. I can see him and I can hear him saying this to me right now as if it were today. He said, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He said, you're doing it, and I believe that you can help me. So I'm going to do it too. It doesn't matter. My brain nearly exploded. The network marketing part of my brain just didn't understand. I almost couldn't sign him up because I'm like, no, but you got to know the comp plan. You got to, he gave me $500, his credit card. I signed him up. He said, we can talk about that stuff later. It doesn't matter. Light bulb moment. In that moment, here's what I finally understood. You don't create real value is not created by you talking and telling. It's created by you asking purposeful questions listening and learning. See, here's what most people think. Most, and probably a lot of you feel this way as well. Most people think that the value that they have to offer other people lies in your company and your products. And I am telling you that at the point of the sales process that we are talking about, those things are irrelevant. The only value that you have to offer at this point in the process is you. It is the conversation that you have. The conversation is the value. And when I think about what I did in that instance, and here's what's really powerful about this. I didn't even connect all these dots at that time. It wasn't until years and years later when I actually started doing this kind of stuff and really getting into the teaching and coaching flow that I started to realize, wow, that's what I did. See, what I did was I didn't just look at the surface level problem that this guy wasn't happy in his job. I took the time to connect with him and explore all these other areas of impact that it was having in his life. And the thing was, it wasn't just about, you know, what was happening, but it was how he was feeling. Like it was almost like I entered the conversation that was happening in his mind. See, the uniqueness of the problem is where the value is created. Now, in order for you to do this, you have to first and foremost, you have to know what problems you're actually looking for. And you have to also know who you're looking for. And this is going to lead me into the third level of value creation. So the first level of value creation is product information. That doesn't work anymore today. It's commoditized. Second level of value creation is problems, but not just the surface level problem, exploring the uniqueness of the problem, connecting with people, leading. So when you think of transformational sales conversations, I want you to think of leading a conversation. And the other thing I want you to think of is this: selling from presence, not pressure. Transformational sales conversations sell from pressure, pushing people to a desired outcome. Transformational conversations, you are present and you are there and you are responding, not with an attachment to any specific outcome. It doesn't mean you don't want them to say yes, but you don't need them to say yes. You're okay with the fact that not everybody's a fit for what you do. That energy and that vibe is totally different when you're talking to somebody. But here's the third level of value creation. And I will tell you, very few people ever get to this level because they just don't understand it. A lot of the most successful people that I work with will tell me, yeah, that's what I did, but it wasn't something that they were intentional. They just kind of did it, but it's not about doing it. It's about learning how to transfer that knowledge and experience to other people. That's where the real value is. But here's the third level of value: mission, vision, and values. Mission, vision, and values. So let's break each one of these three things down. The mission of your business is what you do. Now I think this is a really big aha moment for it. I know it was for me. You're not in your products are not your real product, and your business is not your product. You're not in the wellness. You're not in the skincare business. You're not in the health and wellness business. You are in the transformation business. People don't buy products. They buy solutions to problems. You know, the old adage, you don't buy a drill because you need a drill. You buy a drill because you need a hole. See, the reason why people buy products and so value begins to be created when you can get somebody to see what you're offering as a potential solution to a meaningful problem in their life. But the whole next level is when you can start connecting with them and communicating to them clearly this stuff. And when we talk about mission, the mission of your business is tied to this really powerful realization of who you are actually looking for. And I'm going to tell you this: The person, your ideal teammate for your business, your ideal recruit is not some mythical, magical unicorn of a person that's out there that you're going to just find one day that's going to magically show up in your DMs and say, hey, let's do this thing. And they're going to just ride off into the sunset and you're going to just kind of hold on for dear life and cheer them on. That's not how that's not how this works. See, part of the reason why you struggle when it comes to recruiting is you think you're looking for somebody that's better than you. And you always feel less than or not credible to have those conversations. Here's the life-changing moment for some of you right now. You are your ideal recruit. You are your ideal recruit. Now, let me explain. It's not the version of you today. It's the version of you right before you started your journey with this company. See, here's what I want you to think about. There is a specific reason why you said yes to this business. And if you think back to the season of your life right before you either said yes or finally made the commitment to say, I'm going to actually do this, there was a problem. There was something that was going on in your life that was causing enough dissatisfaction that you finally said, this is something I think can help. The entire transformational sales process is built around you getting total clarity on why you said yes, what was missing, and having that be the foundation for your message and your mission. I'm going to share another powerful story with you. So I was coaching a young lady. Her name was Jody, one of our clients, and she came to me and we were on a Zoom session like this. And so what she shared was, she said, Bob, I've gotten to the point in my business where I'm not even having conversations about my business anymore. Not even talking to people anymore about my business. And I said, okay, why? And she said, well, I've been doing this for a year and I haven't recruited a single person in a year. And she kept saying this word, I just feel so defeated. I feel so defeated. Like she was so down on herself. She couldn't even talk to people anymore. And I got that because I had been there before. And I said, well, Jody, go through an exercise real quick with me. Just forget about the results for a second or the lack thereof. I go, I want to have a different conversation with you. I said, talk to me a little bit about you. She goes, what do you mean? I go, you. Are you a different person today than you were when you started a year ago? And what was really powerful is I watched this woman go in an instant. Her entire energy and state of being shifted. She went from down and dejected to completely up. And she went on to list out like 10 different things. She goes, I'm a better mother. I'm a better wife. I'm positive. I have a better attitude. I'm more healthy. I've got more. She just went on and on and on and on and on. And I said, this is amazing. And I said, let me ask you an important question. How does all of that stuff make you feel? She thought about it for a second. She said, proud. And I could see it. Like you could see, she felt proud in that moment. And I said, this feels good, doesn't it? She says, yes, it does. And I said, here's the most important question you need to ask yourself. How often do you feel proud when you're having conversations with people about your business? She said, never. I said, there's your problem. See, you'll hear me say this a lot, and I'll say it to you in a way that makes sense for you. I'm going to tell you what herbal alchemy is. It's not what you think. It's really nothing more than a personal growth program with a compensation plan. That's what it is. But here's the interesting part about the compensation. The compensation won't come until you recognize that the personal growth is actually the most important gift that you have to give someone else. And it's what's interesting is time after time again, when I coach our clients and they come to me saying that they don't feel any confidence when it comes to sharing the business, I know it's because they're thinking transactionally. They're defining success and their value by the results or lack thereof. I don't have the team. I don't have the rank. How can I help people? Well, what if helping had nothing to do with rank or money? What if rank or money was a byproduct of helping? See, if you lack confidence, it's because you don't have clarity on this exact thing we're talking about. There is no one else in the world, in the universe, that is more uniquely equipped and qualified to help the version of you right before you started more than you. Another client of mine, Shannon, she was telling me that she can't get people, when she has conversations about her business, nobody's relating to them. And I said, well, what are you saying? And I hear this a lot. She says, well, I talk about freedom and I talk about purpose and I talk about all this amazing stuff. Cause like, I know that's what, she sells the dream, and that's what most people do. They sell the dream. Well, I got news for you. It's hard to sell the dream if you're still living in the nightmare. And she was, but she's told to sell the dream. That's why it feels inauthentic, because it is inauthentic. I said, Shannon, stop trying to sell the dream. I go, tell me about you when you first started. And she shared this story with me. It's like, it still impacts me today. I'm thinking of her telling it. I said, why did you say yes? She goes, well, I was a customer of the company. I had just gone through a really nasty divorce. I was a single stay-at-home mother, my two young children, and I was at the lowest point in my life. I had no self-confidence. I didn't know what I was going to do. She said, I started sharing that she sells candles. I started sharing the candles because I like them. And I thought, why not? She said, I went to the mailbox one day. There was a check, an envelope. I open it up. There's a check in there. It's a $56 check. She said to me, she goes, Bob, that probably doesn't sound like a big deal to you. And probably most people, if they heard that, they'd be like, so what? But what I'm here to tell you is that $56 check changed my life. Because it showed me, as a single mother at the lowest point in my life, that I could do something that I didn't think I could do. And she said it sparked something in me. And it gave me enough confidence and hope to take the next step. And I was like, wow. Like, I probably felt like you're feeling. I was like, what a story. And I said, Shannon, when's the last time you told that to somebody? She said, I don't ever tell it. I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm like, let's kind of look at this. I'm like, I said, Shannon, if your friend would have came to you and sold you on financial freedom and purpose and all this stuff, what would you have done? She's like, I would have laughed in her face. I go, exactly. See, here's the secret to really being successful at sales. Before you sell people on the big dream, you got to connect with them and meet them where they are. People will not buy your success until they first buy your problems. And when we understand this, everything I'm teaching you creates this really powerful mission of your business. And so what we do, we actually teach our clients how to distill all of this into a single sentence. We call it the I help statement. And it is a single sentence, but it will change your business forever, because it will create an emotional connection to your business that you've never felt before. And then here's what happens next. The vision is born from the mission. Your vision is why you do it. So as you're out there every single day sharing, this is who I help, this is the impact that I want to make in the world, and you're feeling this emotional connection and this sense of purpose, and conversations become fulfilling, whether people say yes or not. Now you start getting this bigger vision. Maybe I can do something more, because this vision isn't tied to just these business goals and achievements that you never believe are possible for you anyway. And then the final thing are values. And values are how you do it. Look, here's the one thing I'm going to end with this, but here's the one thing I will tell you. And this is, There's been lots of studies done on this. One of the biggest ways that consumers are changing and people are changing is they want to do business with people that have shared values. When you look at some of the most successful companies in the world today, they are purpose-driven companies, right? Your company is a great example of it. We want to know that the people that we buy from and the people that we do business with, that they're like us in meaningful ways. People are starving for purpose and meaning today. They want connection. They want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than just themselves. They feel alone. And so if you can get really clear on the values that are most important to you and start sharing them in conversations, the amount of value that will create is so far beyond anything else. And when I think back to that meeting that I had at that Starbucks in Northeast Philadelphia, that's what I did. That's what I did. I just talked about these things, and I didn't do it intentionally, but now I recognize why it connected. And so that's what I want to leave you with today. And I know I left you with a lot, but I want you to just start thinking a little bit differently. And if you take nothing else from this, I want you to leave this training tonight with a new level of belief in yourself. And I want to, so I feel compelled to say this, so I'm just going to say it. I want you to understand that it's not an accident that you are here tonight on this Zoom. I truly believe that. This is the reason why. Look, I don't have anything to sell you tonight. I don't have anything to promote. I am here because I feel called to help. And I was you at a point in my career. And there were people along my journey that were willing to give back in a way that inspired me. And that's why I do what I do. But I want you to understand it's not an accident that you are here. It is not an accident that you said yes to this profession. It is not an accident that you said yes to this company, that you are connected to the kinds of products that you have that can change people's lives. And you have the opportunity you have today with the leadership of this company. It's not an accident. You have to believe that. You are being called to something right now in your business, and it's right in front of you. You just can't see it yet. But I can't wait for the moment that you do see it, because when you see it, you're going to start believing it in a way that you never have. So thank you so much, everybody, for allowing me to spend some time here with you tonight. And special thank you to Stephanie for taking the time to set this up and to promote it to everyone. It's been an honor and a privilege for me to get a chance to teach you tonight. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Bob, very much. And I can say, just closing, I am getting messages from so many of you, and I'm so glad that you guys were able to join us. So thank you. We'll send out the recording as soon as I can, and just keep watching it because it's good stuff. So
yeah, I'll get the I'll get the recording to you first thing in the morning tomorrow after it processes.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank
Take
you.
care.